Hey everybody, if you've seen one of our previous videos, you saw that we installed brakes and pads on the Miata. So today we're going to take it the next step further and we're going to install stainless brake lines. We picked up these G-Stop by Goodridge stainless brake lines, and we're going to walk you through on how to install these on a 91 Miata today. So let's get started. Step 1, raise car, support with jack stands. Step 2, using a 4-way, a ratchet and a socket, or an impact, remove the wheel. Done. The next step will be to remove the old line itself. It is attached to the caliper right here, with a 12mm bolt, and attached to the factory hard line here with a 10mm line nut. You can either use a line wrench or a regular box end to remove this. Suggestion is to spray this and this with PB Blaster and let it soak for a while, as this car is almost 30 years old. Alright, now that we've let our PB Blaster soak, we will start with 12mm bolt on the caliper. Break it loose. Move back here to the 10mm line nut. Be very careful, you will round these off in a heartbeat. And just continue unthreading it till it's ready to come out. So this is our new line we're getting ready to install. And one thing you'll notice is this head will fit in that bracket, but this will slide through there. There's a ridge right here that this retaining clip goes in. So the hardest part of this whole install to me, besides bleeding the brakes, is getting that retaining clip off, because they always want to bend or like just get mangled up. And you have to reuse that or buy a new one, and we're going to try and reuse it. So we have to be very careful getting it out. I sprayed some PB Blaster on it. So what we're going to do, we'll take this very small pry bar that fits perfectly under the lip of it right here. Just give it a little love, and it should. It's starting to come. Oh, come on. Ain't got enough pry bar. So what we'll do now, got it loose, our pliers, pull it out of there. And as you can see, like that. Holds it in there. So we'll get this line out, get this new line in, and then we'll start buttoning everything back up. Old line comes out, simple as that. Compare line size, everything's the same. This one does have a little thumb, nub, whatever, to hold it into the caliper. So while you're tightening this down and putting it in place, you will have to hold it, since it will not hold itself like the factory one did. You can actually tell just by looking at the holes, this one's actually bigger. So let's put this bad boy in place. So one thing here is this goes through the bottom, and it's shaped a certain way that this only will line up one way. When you go to put it in, if it's like lopsided or don't want to go all the way in, just keep turning it till it lines up. I'm not sure which side is like weird or whatever. You can tell it's bottom is rounded, top's pointed. So just put it in there and turn it till it lines up. Put this in there, give it a little tap, and it'll go in. So like I said, you'll feel it. See how it's not wanting to line up? So just keep turning it until you feel it. Ta-da, like that. So then take this guy, put it right there. Take your little hammer or mallet, gently, Try and keep it level till it bottoms out. There you go. Now, the hard line will go down in there like that. Now, make sure this goes straight, does not cross thread, anything like that. Try and put pressure on it downward as you tighten it. Once you feel it start taking, get your 10mm wrench and very gently start giving it some turns. And you'll feel it start taking. Make sure you are not cross-threading this, because then you will have to change this hard line, you'll have to change that, everything. It'll suck. So just real gently take your 10mm, start turning it. This will be a slow process. As you can see, I can already tell it's starting to go. Okay, give it a little snug. Okay, that end's done. Now we'll move out here to the caliper. Ready? All right, so on the caliper, you want to make sure the line is not like kinked or twisted or anything like that, okay? One thing to notice here is your bolt will have 2 of these bronze washers. One will go on top, one will go on bottom against the caliper. Just a little like sandwich type thing, okay? Make sure you get it good and straight. Get it started with your hand, and it'll be a pain because the line is really stiff, so it wants to kick it out. But make sure, like with the other one, it does not cross thread. Make sure you've got both washers in there, okay? My suggestion is, before you get this all the way tight, get your line position, whether you want it to be here, up here. That would be bad because of the A-arm. You want to keep it away from a tire, away from the shock, away from A-arm, anything. So you want to do like this. And then before you tighten this down all the way, I would suggest putting the tire on it, on the jack stands, turn it, make sure you're not going to hit anything. Make sure everything's clear, because you don't want to get down the track and have this rubbing tire or get into a shock, something like that, okay? One thing that is different, the first bolt we took out was a 12. This is a 14, so you will have to switch socket sizes. Give it a little hand snug. I always hold it to keep it from wanting to pull the line around. Not too tight. You don't want to break the head of the bolt off. But make sure you get the washers crushed. Okay, everything's good and snug. We're tight there. Give everything a once over. Next step is we're going to bleed the brakes. All right, guys, next thing we have to do so we can finish this up is bleed the brakes. The first thing you want to do is find your bleeder valve on top of the caliper and remove the cap. This should be an 8mm. You're going to put your box end on. Boom, 8mm. We're going to spray it with some PB Blaster, let it sit, and then we'll go from there. Alright guys, when you're bleeding your brakes, one important thing to do is make sure your reservoir does not go empty. If it does, you'll have to start all over. The important thing to do is start with the line that is farthest from the reservoir. So this is up front, right above the one we're working on. So you'll want to start with the rear passenger. I've already filled this up, as you can tell, to make sure we don't go empty. Okay? As you're bleeding the brakes, you want to stop and check every now and then and make sure, like I said, this does not get empty, because if it does, you're going to reintroduce air into the lines and you'll have to start all over. So I'm going to go ahead and fill this up to the max line, probably a little bit above it, and then we'll start bleeding our brakes. Okay. Okay. So like I said, we'll keep an eye on it. We do not want to go below minimum while we're bleeding brakes. Okay? Okay guys, this is going to be a little hard to shoot because Matt's going to be in the car and I'm going to be out here, so we've got position stationary. So I broke it loose first with PB Blaster to make sure, because you don't want to round these off because they're a pain to get off and you got to take the caliper off and everything. So while Matt's getting ready, we will sit here and wait. This is also a good way to make sure nothing's leaking while you're bleeding the brakes too. Ready? Pump it up, Matt. The best way to pump it up is 3 times, hold it to the floor. Ready? Oh, we've already got fluid. All right, release, pump it again. Yeah, you do not want to get in this area because when it comes out, it will be awful. Nope. All right, we're going to check it. Nothing leaking here. Nothing leaking here so far. All right, hit it, Matt. Are you getting any pedal?
Yeah. That's supposed to be
Oh
good.
Man, we're getting solid streams. Well, it's got air in it, but still good on fluid. All right, hit it again, Matt. To the floor. How's pedal feeling?
It's getting stiff.
All right, hit it again, Matt. Good. Oh man, with that much force coming out and I have not seen very much air in it, we're going to do it one more time to be sure, and it should be good. Another good bit of advice is paper towels on the floor to soak all this up. Make sure you don't get any brake fluid on your paint either. Ready? And I do believe, Matt, we're good, because I don't see any leaks and I feel like we've got all the air out. So that's all there was to install this brake line. We only did one corner today, but the other corners are exactly the same. The only difference is the back one has a distribution block, but it's the exact same all the way around to that distribution block. Thanks, guys. Looks like that'll be fun with just two of us.